Welcome to the Parenting on the Spectrum show with board-certified behavior analyst and infant toddler development specialist, Teresa Alexander Inman. Parenting on the Spectrum dives into real stories, challenges, and triumphs, offering invaluable insights and support for families on your unique journey. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome. Today, my guest is Ms. Jodi Hill. She is a best-selling author of The Parent's Secret Superpower, 7 Simple Strategies to Raise Confident and Capable Kids with the Power of Your Words. She helps parents understand how everyday words shape a child's confidence and self-belief. Jody, welcome. And you are just speaking to my heart. Thank you so much for this mission that you're on.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you for having me. Talk about mission. I love what you are doing with your work and the guests that you have. And I'm just so glad that I get to play a small part in it. So thank you for having me.
Oh, just give me goosebumps. Thank you so much for your kind words. And we're going to talk about the power of words.
Yes, do it. Yes.
I don't think that parents really understand or they get how powerful their words are.
Yeah.
So much more than anybody else's.
Yes. And I mean, that's why my book is called The Parent's Secret Superpower, because it's a superpower that many parents don't even realize that they have. And honestly, it's not a secret, but to us, it's like, we don't even realize it. And that's, if you want, okay, I don't even know where to start. Okay. So my journey of how I even got into this is I found myself divorcing the kid's dad. And I was like, I do not want my children to become a divorce statistic. How can I avoid that? How can I combat the anxiety, the depression, the ownership, the blame that kids can take on? And that really started me on my journey of realizing I have more power than I realize, and it's through my words. And I realized I was doing that a lot, just raising them anyway. But then when I started diving into the research and the science and how the science backs up the faith of what we've been told for centuries about the power of life and death is in our tongue, it all just started coming together so beautifully. And I was like, this is incredible. This truly is a superpower that we have as parents. So ever since then, it's just been my heart and my mission to communicate that to other parents, to help them realize that not only the power that they have, not to realize it, but then to be able to yield it wisely.
Yes, and that is so, and it's so funny because I wanted to ask what your backstory was, and thank you for going
That's it.
Because we all have one.
Yes.
A revelation that has us realize how powerful. And it's funny. We had a foster child. And one day, he's back with his family. However, one day he had this thing under his pillow. It was like something with a screw attached to it and all of that. And I saw it there and I thought, oh my gosh, it could have, what if it moved and hurt him? And, I had all these visions in my head, and I asked him about it. And what I said was, what's wrong with you? Do you realize this is you? And then I thought to myself, then I apologized. I said, you know what, please forgive me. Let's start all over again.
Yeah.
And this follow-up question was one that I regretted as soon as I asked it. Why did you put that under your pillow?
Because I don't know. I'm just a curious kid.
Yeah, no, he said because something's wrong with him. Because I had asked him what's wrong with him. And then his response, and I thought, oh gosh. So I just held him and I asked him to forgive me. And I said, when we just talked about the dangers of this thing under his pillow. But I thought, oh gosh, knowing what I know, being in the field that I'm in and have been for a long time.
We still mess up.
Exactly. And I realized, you know what? It was lack of self-care. I was exhausted and I did not think before I spoke, and I just threw it out there.
So do it.
Yeah.
But I think what you did is so beautiful though. And I think so many parents can learn from that, is owning your mistakes. If we can show our children how to repair, how to own what we did in a not great way, and then repair with them, that teaches them how to do that themselves. And so I think that was so beautiful how you did that with your with your sweet little foster baby.
Yeah, I just thought, oh gosh, because I know, and and they say from birth to 7, children are just absorbing everything you say
Yes.
about them and everything
Yep.
they see, and it's just, and I thought, oh goodness, he's 5.
But you taught him something even more beautiful, which is how to take ownership for yourself, which will be a lifelong lesson for him.
I sure hope so. Oh my goodness. So you came by this via experience,
Yeah.
which is so powerful, because then when you speak to people, you can say, listen, been there,
Yep.
and this is what I did, and this is how I did it.
Yep.
So what was, so share with us. Okay, so we get how you came by this.
Yeah.
How has that shaped you, like that realization of how powerful your words are? What did that do for you as a person? Because what I try to tell parents, you've got to change you before you can do something to
Yes.
affect your child, right?
Yes.
To
Yeah.
make any kind of change, it has to come from within, because children know
Yeah.
if it's genuine or not.
Oh, 100%. Yes. 100%. Yeah. And so what I would say, for me is you can't give your children what you don't have yourself. You can't teach them what you don't have yourself. You can't tell them, you need to practice self-control. And you're like yelling at them, right? Like that's not how that works, right? And so it really started with me of like, okay, am I confident and capable in who I am? And that was instilled in me and my parents when I was younger. I remember I was on the bus one time and it was in 4th grade, and there was this older kid and he was like really mean and a bully. And it was time for me to get off my bus stop. And I remember walking down the aisle of the bus and he was in my way. And like my heart starts palpitating, right? And I'm like, eek. And he looks at me like with this mean, disdainful, like look in his face. And he's like, you're an idiot. Now, to give you a context, one, that's mean to begin with. But like in my household, we didn't even say shut up. Like we were like, and so for this kid to look at me in the face and call me an idiot, and I was always already kind of afraid of him anyway. I was just like, oh my goodness. But what I remembered in that moment is that is not who I am. Because what my parents instilled in me and the belief that I had in myself and who I am, that's not me. And I said, no, I'm not. And I brushed past him and I walked off that bus. I was a little shaky, but I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. And the reason that I had that confidence is because my parents instilled that in me when I was little. And that's what I am so intent on doing for my own children. I love this quote where it's, we don't give confidence to our children. They earn it. And it's like, wait, what does that mean? And so I think it comes back to one of my super secret, superpower strategies that I share in my book is we want to empower our kids for their own mission. And what I mean by that is most of us parents, we love our children, right? And so we naturally want to do things for them. At least I am. I don't know if you know anything about the Enneagram, but I'm a 2, I'm a 3, wing 2, and I'm a natural helper, right? So my kids are struggling with something or something's a little hard. I just want to come in and help them because I love them. The problem with that is sometimes we can actually unintentionally communicate the message to our children that we don't think they're capable. And it is so important to let our kids fight the battle, struggle a bit, and we can be right there with them, helping them and guiding them, but not to rescue them from that. So a perfect example for a younger child would be my daughter learning how to tie her shoe. Right? She's struggling, she's crying and whatever. And there was a situation we're trying to get out the door. And as you can probably understand, I have 4 kids, mama to 4, trying to get everyone out the door on time is an amazing feat if I can do it. We're about to get out the door. And then my daughter's on the floor crying because she can't figure out how to tie her shoes. She can't remember. So as the mom and the helper, what do I want to do? I'm uncomfortable with her pain. I'm uncomfortable with her discomfort. And I just want to end it. And I just want to fix it. And I want to get out the door in time. So I want to come in and swoop in and like tie her shoe for her. And all right, good. You're good to go. Let's go. The problem with that is it doesn't help her. It actually hinders her. Yes. And so I sat down next to her and first I empathized with her. I was like, man, I can see you're really frustrated. Are you frustrated at tying your shoe? And she's like, yes. And I was like, would you like me to show you how to do it again? She's like, yes. this. And so I show her how to do it again. I remind her how it's done. I untie it and then I let her do it. I'm right there with her. I'm encouraging her. I'm championing her. And she does it and she is thrilled, right? And so now she's like, yay! And now she's equipped to do it moving on, right? I can still be there to help her. And that is what our kids earning confidence is all about, like letting them step into that and learn it themselves and gain that confidence instead of us just rescuing them from it.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It sounds like you were a fly on the wall during a conversation I had with a parent yesterday, because we were talking about exactly that, always wanting to rescue and fix it and make it better. And I thought, well, you're actually hindering them. I said, you're developing your brain cells, the pathways in your brain, and
Yeah.
hindering their growth because they're not building those pathways because they're not learning the skill. And it was, she said, oh my gosh, she's always zipping up his jacket. He zipped his jacket up himself and said, Mommy, it's okay. I don't need you. And she was like, and now it's the shoelaces. We're going on to shoelaces and all of that. And she was like, she's so stressed because she wants to make life perfect for them. And I was, and my thing is, you're hindering their progress.
Yes, 100%.
She has a 17-year-old, and I shared this a little bit before we got on, but who sent a message and said, I know you're disappointed in me. And I thought, oh my gosh, it was like,
heartbreaking.
So I said, exactly, because she has learned to please her mom and everything is about pleasing her mom. I said, well, I get that. More empowering if she would get her own way in life instead of wanting to be all about what you want, because then she's not going to follow her dreams if it's something she doesn't feel you agree with.
100%. And we talk about, like her wanting to follow her dreams. And also a big thing right now is like social media and outside voices and who is influencing our kids. And the thing to remember is if we can be that safe place for our children to mess up, to make mistakes, they're always going to keep coming back to us. Like, I never want my child to fear that they can't share with me something going on because they're afraid that they're letting me down. Okay, so if our kids mess up, I'm not saying to say, oh, you're fine, you're good, and just like let it go by. We want them to take ownership and we want them to take responsibility, but we want them to do it without shame and without fear. And if we can create that safe place for our kids to mess up and it's okay and to learn, and it's not a you're bad, you're broken, I can't believe you spilled that, but it's like, oops, I've made mistakes too. What can we do differently next time to make sure this doesn't spill? Completely different environment, which makes our kids feel safe and loved, and they can keep coming back to us.
Yes. And safety is the key to learning, is the key to bonding.
Yes.
It's because if a child does not feel safe, then you have nothing.
And then they're going to go elsewhere. They're going to go to peer pressure. They're going to go to TikTok. They're going to go to Instagram or whatever it is, to gangs, whatever, to get that feeling of safety, even though it's a false sense of safety.
Exactly. So true. You mentioned gangs. It's like, they don't care about you. See, we're here for you and we understand you. We get you. And that's how, they'll find things. They're crafty, those people, and they'll find ways. So, and, even being lured on social media, it's become a world that's in where it makes it even more important that your child feels confident, loved, and safe in your presence with you, that you've taught them those skills so they can take that out there, just like you did on the bus. No, I'm not, and walk on. No need to engage because you know who you are.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. It's so important. And, the words that we use day to day, moment by moment, really have such a huge impact. And it's in those small moments that really build into those big moments that show the kids like, oh, this is a safe place and I can keep coming back and I'm loved and I'm accepted, and regardless of the mistakes that I make. It's so important.
Yes, it really is. And, I had a conversation with actually one of my bestie's daughter. I refer to her as my niece.
Aww.
And that with her daughter, one day she was just so frustrated and she said, I hate you. And this was maybe 10 years ago. She's now 13. Maybe about 9, 10 years ago. And she says she still feels like her daughter feels like she hates her.
Oh,
I said, because she said it, and she said as soon as she said it, she regretted it. And then, here she is. So she was like,
words, man.
yeah, they are so powerful.
Yep.
And so I told her, I said, you know what? Just keep showing her love. Just keep talking to her. Ask her for forgiveness because, it helps her realize, first of all, mom is not perfect.
Yeah.
And
Very
so I
important
don't
to
have
show.
to be perfect. I can be vulnerable. I can be me,
Yeah.
fall and get up and
Yeah.
you keep moving.
Right. I think what really blew my mind on this journey that I got on was just even the science behind the power of words. So have you heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto?
I haven't.
Okay, you may have heard of his water experiments.
I have,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, okay. All right. So for those who are listening who have no idea what we're talking about, Dr. Masaru Emoto, what he did is he took water samples from a lake in Japan and he split them into two categories. One category, he spoke kind words, played beautiful music, put great thoughts and intentions towards it. Then the other water group, he spoke evil words, wrote, hate, I hate you, like on the water, on the container that the water was in. And then he froze the water and then he examined the water crystals. And what he found was remarkable. Like, okay, I have shameless plug for my playbook that I have with my book, but hold on, I actually have pictures. So for those of you who are able to view this, I'm going to, okay, right here. So check out these water samples. Okay, so this right here is the song Imagine by John Lennon. This is the word angel. This is amazing. Where? Oh, amazing. Backwards. Amazing grace, right? Okay, beautiful crystals. And then check out what this looks like. The words are, you disgust me.
Oh my goodness.
This is you fool.
Mm.
So look at the impact that it has on water. And then think about that for a moment when you think of how much our bodies are made up of out of water.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's not just words are only impacting like our mind, right? They're physically impacting our bodies.
Yes. Yeah, I know that is so fascinating. And there was another one too where they talked about, so pretty much that, and they had an ignored category. So water that was just ignored,
Ooh.
it was actually worse than saying those horrible words.
Wow.
Yeah,
So powerful.
it was. Yeah.
And when we realize, man, the power of our words and the impact, it helps me even be more conscious and mindful. But, even the best of us have examples of not doing great. Like, for example, another superpower that I talk about in my words is like calling our kids up to greatness, right? And so even though we may see something that's not super great, it doesn't mean we get to like shame them for it and rail them on it and make them it an identity statement, right? So one day, 4 children, single mom at the time, homework, dinner, after school snacks, getting energy out from school, like all the things. And I'm sitting down with one of my children looking over their homework. And, you talk about self-care and making sure that you're at a great place. Well, I wasn't at a great place to begin with because a lot was going on, right? So my patience was at not an all-time high. And so I'm trying to go through my child's homework and I can't do it. I can't get through it because the handwriting is atrocious. And in my moment of frustration, I say, oh my gosh, your handwriting is so bad. And all of a sudden it just gets like dead quiet. And he just looks at me and he's like, Mom, that was really hurtful. And I was like, I totally lost it on my kid. And I just felt horrible. One, I felt horrible to begin with that I let that come out. And then two, the impact of when they shared with me the impact that my words had on them, it just killed me. I was like, dang it. And that's when we get to own it, right? I said, you know what? I am so sorry. I was frustrated and I said unkind things and I'm really sorry. And, and if I had to go and redo that. So a parent's like, okay, well, it is the truth. Like their handwriting was horrible. And yes, their handwriting is very horrible. But what could be a better way for me to go about that, right? It could be like, hey, dude, I love sitting down with you and doing your homework, and I love this time that we get to spend with each other. However, it's really hard for me to do that when I can't read your handwriting. I know that you can write better. Can you please go back, try again, rewrite this, and you let me know when you're ready for me? Totally different approach, right? Instead of shame, you suck. You know, like, ah! But that's a great story. So there's purpose in the pain.
Yes, there always is. When we come back and clean it up.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember working at a juvenile justice facility for girls. And I remember saying something one time to one of the young ladies, and one of my supervisors afterwards, he said, well, did you go and clean that up? I said, well, what do you mean? You just told her. And it wasn't like horrible mean. It was a little critical. Not exactly coming out of, because it came out of frustration.
Yes.
You could do better. I know you could do better than that, and blah, blah, blah. And,
yes.
Thinking that I was inspiring. And
Whoops.
Exactly. And I was just like, clean it up. What do you mean? I was just trying to encourage her.
Yeah.
The way that you did it was not exactly, he said, I felt it. So I went back to the young lady and I was okay. I deeply and sincerely apologize. I want what's best for you. And it didn't exactly come out feeling that way.
Yeah.
And people say, well, that wasn't how I intended it. If people don't know that, the person that you're speaking to doesn't know the intent in your heart.
Right. It's how they receive it is what feels very true for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So important that we focus and realize, maybe try to put ourselves in the person's shoes. How would I receive that? And maybe they may not receive it, even though with your best intent, they may ask and find out.
Yeah.
Okay, how did that feel? I ask parents a lot of times to ask children, instead of telling them, they're okay or whatever it is, ask them how they feel, because they may not be
so
okay.
Good. Yes. That one drives me crazy, right? It's like, you're okay, you're okay. It's like, well, maybe they're not. And maybe they just need a hug from mom to feel better.
Yes.
I think something you said was really powerful when you were talking about giving feedback to that woman is your motive behind that was frustration. Mm-hmm. And I think that goes back to what we've said a couple of times now, where it's like, you got to get yourself in a good and right place before you speak, before you interact, before you approach. It's hard to do all the time. There's so much grace. And yet at the same time, like realizing like, what is my motive in this? Okay. When my child, like pees themselves or whatever, which, they can't often control that, right? Like they're learning and they're developing, but it's so easy because we've got all these things going on just to get frustrated and just like to snap at them, right? But it's like, what's my motive here? Am I actually trying to create an environment where they feel loved, where they feel safe? Or is my motive is I'm frustrated at them because now I have another mess to clean up? And if we can check our motives and take a deep breath, then we will show up in such a better and healthier way with our kids on every interaction, right? It really makes a difference. You have to take care of yourself, mama and daddy.
Absolutely. And the one thing with your example, I would have the child clean up, or have them help me clean up, because
100%.
there has to be consequence. Yes, it's an accident. When there's an accident, there's still a consequence. And if they live a life without consequences, they are going to expect that the world is going to operate without consequences, and it's going to be very traumatic, very sad for them.
Yep.
So super important, people's like, oh, because I had a 2-year-old who, she non-vocal, and we were working on toilet training. And so mom had one of those miniature potties. She stood there in front of the potty. She looked at us, smiled, and peed on the floor.
What did y'all do? What'd you do?
So mom asked me, she's like, what do I do? Like, I said, well, get a cloth, have her clean it. She says, well, what if it gets on her hands? I said, it's her pee and there's soap and water.
Yeah. Okay, it gets on her hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She learns. Let me tell you, she never peed on the floor again.
Ah, ha, ha. So powerful, right?
Yeah.
And that's like a great example of having our kids take ownership without shame. It's like, oh, I'm the one that peed on the floor. And I think our approach as parents is really important in that moment too. It's not like, look what you did. Now you're going to have to clean it up, right? Because that's the shame piece, right? Instead, it's like, oh, whoops. Okay, here's a cloth. Now let's clean up the floor. Now let's wash our hands.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. And actually, that's how I knew when my older son was ready to be toilet trained. I was just like, oh, we'll just put him in underwear. I had no idea what I was doing. And he peed, and he's like, uh-oh, mommy. I said, yes. Uh-oh, let's clean it up. And you know what? Next time we'll go on the potty. And that was it. I was like, this was the easiest childhood toilet training.
What? Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
wish. I
Yeah.
wish. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, actually, his brother was easier because his brother saw him. So then he learned from him. And I thought, thank you, Lord, because
Totally.
I had no idea what I was doing, Jody. No clue.
I mean, our children do not come with manuals, which is what would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, to even connect this, like with parents who may be listening and who have older kids, right? How can we walk with them in responsibility and owning without shame? And so, a great example is, say your kid comes home late past curfew. And actually, I have a perfect example. I just did a reel about this. Two of my kids, my older kids, I let them stay up late the other night. And so I said, hey, at 9:30, you guys need to be coming up the stairs and getting ready for bed. It's 9:30. They're not there. I still hear them downstairs. It's 9:31, 9:32, 9:33 is when they come up. And some people may say, it's just 9:33. What does it matter? But I want to raise kids who can own their actions and be confident in their words and what they say. I want them to become trustworthy people. They agreed to that, right? I said, does 9:30 sound good? They're like, yes. Okay. So then what did that look like? Was it like, I can't believe you guys didn't keep your word. I'm really disappointed in you. No, it was like, I was like, what time did you guys say you'd be up? I'm like, 9:30. Like, yeah. I'm like, what time is it now? 9:33. Yeah. I'm like, okay. What prevented you from honoring your word? And then we got to have a conversation. And some of it was just excuses. Well, the clock is off. I was like, okay, well, what can you do next time to make sure the clock isn't off? And just like having that dialogue where they get to take ownership for their actions and own up to it. And then next time, it'll be a little bit different, right? They now know, but I expected of them, hey, 9:30 is your word and what you gave. And so the same thing is we're homeschooling them. And it's like, okay, this is what you're committing to. Let's see that follow through. And then if not, there's consequences. So like the consequence for them being late that night was like, you're showing me that, you actually need more time to get ready for bed or whatever, because you didn't. Oh, no. Okay. So what I did in that moment was privilege equals responsibility. So they lost the privilege the next night to get to stay up late.
Nice. Awesome.
Like,
Jody, our time is winding down. Tell people where they can find you.
So the best place to find me is on Instagram. It's just that Jodi Hill Parenting. And then for any of the listeners who want my top confidence boosters and busters, so things that we can say to encourage our kids and things that you may say that you don't even realize hurt their confidence. All they have to do is go to podcast.itsjodihill.com. So they'll get my top confidence boosters and busters. And I also give access to my first superpower strategy in my book. They get it in PDF and also audio form. So all they have to go to is podcast.itsjodihill.com and they'll gain access to me and the free resources that I have available for them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jody. It's been just awesome chatting with you. And to our audience, thank you so much. We'll see you same place next time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for